Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first video that I have recorded for my YouTube channel and I hope you all like it. And I hope I can help at least a few people who are struggling to get the 79 plus score in each category of the PT exam. So yeah, let's get started. So as I have written in my first slide, I did write this exam 5 times, okay? And I was aiming a score of 79 plus in each of the 4 sections in the PT exam, but every time I came back with a score less than 79 in at least one section. So in this video, all I'm going to talk about is what did I do in the first, second, third, and fourth attempt, and what did I do differently in the fifth attempt. Okay, so that's what we are going to see. So let's quickly look at the important things that you should keep in your mind when you are planning to attend the exam or you have the exam coming in the near future. So yeah, so what I've done here is I have listed down the most important things that you should consider, and in the coming sessions we will discuss each of the exam category in detail, and I will also supply some of the slides or some of the exam templates that I have with me and some of the notes that I have taken down during my practice sections, and I'll share all of those with you. So let's start with the important tips that I would like to share with you all. The first and most important thing that you should do is you should spend some time and understand the PT exam format. So if you look at the exam is around, the total duration of the exam is around 3 hours. That's the maximum time that you get, and they have divided this exam into 3 different parts. So you have the speaking and writing section, which may take around 77 to 93 minutes, and reading takes around 32 to 40 minutes, and the last part of the exam, which is listening, takes around 45 to 57 minutes. So basically this is how your exam is divided, and in each of these sections you will have different kinds of questions. So it's not like speaking is just one type of a question. So you have read aloud, you have describe image, you have summarize spoken text, these kind of different question types in each of these categories. So if you're not familiar with the exam format, what happens is you spend a lot of time in understanding what is each question type. So what you do is like you get sometimes you get only 30 seconds to prepare before the question and before the question prompt starts. So but you will still be reading the instruction, you wouldn't be knowing what to do, but instead if you have already prepared or if you're already clear with the format of the exam, when you read the heading of each of the question type, you would know that okay, this is this and I have to do this. So it's very quick there. Okay, so that's why it's really important that you understand the format, and you should be very clear with what each question type is. Basically, read aloud, you have to read it, and describe image, you get only 30 seconds to prepare, and then you have to immediately speak. If you don't speak for the first 3 seconds, the microphone is automatically turned off. So you're gonna get a 0 score for that. So it's all very important. And so the first thing that you should do is understand the exam format, which is very easy, and on the Pearson PT website, these things are easily available. Like they have given detailed explanation of each of these things in detail. So yeah, have a look at it. And the other thing that I would like to tell you is the test does include an optional break of 10 minutes. So after the speaking and writing section, you get an optional break of 10 minutes, which I personally don't prefer to take, because I feel that I am simply wasting time in between the exam. And actually, when you are coming back after taking the break, it's the instructor has to take you in the exam hall again. They have to verify your identity again, and it's unnecessary process, like unnecessary time waste. So I don't personally prefer that. But if you need to take a break, you have an option of 10 minutes break. Okay. So the next important thing that I want to talk about is preparation. Even though you're so good at English, or if you are somebody who communicates in English every day with other people, that doesn't mean that you can pass the exam without preparation. Um, it's as important as knowing the exam format. You should consistently prepare for at least a week. That is recommended. So that's my first point. You need to prepare well before the exam, whether or not you're good in English. Okay. And the next thing that you have to do is you should analyze your capabilities or like because you know yourself well, right? So better than someone else saying you should prepare for 3 weeks. You should analyze yourself and then understand that how much time do you need to prepare for the exam. Okay, and as soon as you decide that, okay, let's say I need 3 weeks for preparation, and that means that you are ready for the exam in the next 3 weeks, go ahead and book a time slot. Okay, until you book the slot, you're not going to give your best. Okay, it's like that's how I was. Until I booked the exam date, I never took the preparation seriously. But since once you book the exam and once you have that exam date in hand, it's like that fear is there in your mind that I may fail again. So yeah, do that. That's one tip that I would like to tell. And another thing is make a study plan and make sure you execute it without fail. So when I say study plan, it's not mandatory that it has to be very fancy thing or something, but just write down all the different question types in a notepad, or you can even use Excel, Microsoft Excel. That's what I did. So I created a Microsoft Excel sheet and I divided the sections, and I had written down all the different question types in each of the section. And what I did is I also created a section next to it where I can note down my preparation, what do you say, preparation status each day. So we will talk about it in the next slide. But yeah, make sure that you make a study plan. Like if you understand that you are very weak in writing an essay, so decide that you spend at least 15 minutes a day in order to write an essay about anything. The subject doesn't matter. Only thing is you have to be comfortable in writing, or you have to be comfortable in filling the blanks, or wherever you're weak, decide or pick an area and try to spend some time. Okay. And another very important thing is you might have figured out a strategy that works well for you. Like you might see that somebody has posted on a website that for the describe image section there is a predefined or a pre-filled template that you can use. You just have to rearrange the words, or just fill the x-axis value or the y-axis value in between the sentences. So that's going to help you, and that works very well for you. So if you have identified something of that sort, then make sure that you write it down somewhere, so that before the exam it's very easy for you to go and revise these things. Okay, these are the things which I didn't do in my first 4 attempts, but for the fifth attempt I was really sure that I have to clear it this time, and I did all these things and it worked really well for me. So I suggest that anybody who is struggling to get a score of 79 plus, try these tips. It might do wonders. Now we are moving on to one of the most important things out of the 4 tips that I've mentioned here. So what I've learned from my mistakes is that consistency is key. So basically, even though you make a study plan, even though you execute it 1 or 2 days, but if you're not consistent, this is not going to work. Okay, understand that. Like, it's not like one day you studied everything and then after 10 days if you have an exam and if you go and attend it, you're gonna win. It's not that easy. At least for few people it's not that easy. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is be consistent. Let's say you have a 3 weeks of preparation window, so make sure that you prepare every day, be it a 30 minutes or a 1.5 hours, depending on how much free time or how much time you have, you can allocate for PTE preparation. Depending on that, you spend at least 30 minutes a day. So all I'm saying is that do not leave it just like that for 3 or 4 days and then come back again and then you have to start with all of these again. So basically you have to be consistent. Okay, that really creates a difference, because as soon as you get something, you are like, it's all in you and it just automatically comes out. So that's what happens if you're consistent and if you're practicing daily. It's not mandatory that every section, like in speaking you have 7 sections, in reading you have another 8 sections. It's not mandatory that you are taking out 10 examples from each of these sections and trying to solve them. It's not like that. It's like pick up something and do something every day. Okay. So yeah, that's very important, and that really made a difference in my score. Okay, yeah, I forgot to say you that I haven't shown my scorecard yet, right? Yeah, I'll put it to the last slide probably. So yeah, now many might ask that how do I stay consistent? Even though I want to be consistent, I am not able to do it because I find a lot of other entertaining stuff online, not the PT practicing materials. So yeah, as I said earlier, make a study plan, and an effective thing is that if you add a practice session, like a practice section on the Microsoft Excel, if you're using that as a tool for making your study plan, then add a tab or a new sheet and write down the question types from each section, and write down the date when you're practicing. So let's say you have a 3 weeks window, you already fill that the dates in that 3 weeks window in the Excel sheet, and you make a note there that yes, I have practiced and this is my overall score that day. So if you practiced 10 questions that day and you cleared only, or you got only 8 out of 10, then say that you got only 8 out of 10, okay, or else like 80% you scored that day. And this goes for each of the section or each of the question type. That's how I did it. Okay, I can attach a copy of my study plan here, or maybe probably we can keep it for the next session. Okay, so yeah, and what you can do is you can highlight the days you skip practice. So when you look at it, you get that guilty feeling that, oh, I couldn't spend at least 30 minutes yesterday. So that also adds value, right? Also, if you realize that you're scoring low in a particular section, for me it was reading. I was very weak in giving my best in the reading questions. So I used to highlight those in red so that I know that I'm scoring less than 80 in all these sections. Another thing is you keep a kind of like value that you have to reach every day, that I should score above 90 every day or something like that. And when you fall below that value, highlight those. Okay. And then the most important thing is that the study plan or these practice status, make sure that you place it in a location where you see it every day, right? It's not like you have made it in a A4 sheet and then it's lying there in somewhere in the corner of the room, and then you do not even see it. So that's not going to help us. So what I did is I used my work laptop and I placed this Excel sheet on my desktop. So every day when I log into the computer, I see this, right? I see this Excel sheet and I open this and I feel guilty if I skip one day. So that really helped me. So yeah, consistency is the key. Okay. Now the last and final point that I want to make here is for each question type, try to form a strategy that is successful for you. Like, for example, if I say for the described image, you get a lot of sample or like a sample answer format or a template kind of a thing online, like the famous channels like E2 Language or Ape Uni, such channels, they have a pre-filled exam template, a pre-filled answer template that you can use. So basically, that's really going to help you because you don't have to worry about forming that sentence at the time of exam, but instead you already have the sentences formed. You just have to replace the words according to the image that's in front of you. So similarly, for most of the sections, you have a proper strategy. So it's not just about speaking or writing sections, or like where you have to literally write a sentence or speak a sentence. Even for reading, fill in the blanks and choose the correct answer option. Such kind of question types also, you can actually follow a strategy which works well. So the only thing that you should keep in your mind is that something that works for me may not work for you. Okay, you might have to change few things according to your comfort level, right? So for that, you have to try out different options and find out that what works well for you. So I can share what all have I done, and then from there you can actually pick what works well for you, right? So that's another thing. And one more tip that I would like to tell is like you should, whenever you find that something works for you, you found a very good template for the describe image section, write it down in a notepad or write it down in a text file or somewhere on your computer where you can access it later, so that before your exam, like a day before or something, you can actually go back to these notes and revise these things again, right? So it's all like refreshed in your memory again. So that really helps. So that's all I had to tell you today. I hope this was helpful. So in this slide, I have just copy pasted my score reports. As I told you, I have written this exam 5 times, and in the final test, this is my score. Like I scored 90 in listening, reading also I scored 90, and even in speaking I got a score of 90 out of 90. But in writing I got just 88 out of 90, but still I guess it's a good score. And with all this, I got an overall score of 90. So I have given my previous score reports also. You can see how inconsistent I was. Like from looking at my score itself, you can see like first test I scored almost around 72, 73, 74, that range in all the 4 sections. But if you look at my second session, I did really good. Like I got 90 in listening, and then 85 and 83 in 2 other sections. But in reading, I lost it for just 1 mark, right? And in the third attempt, I again went down. I got even a score of 67. So my score was never consistent. I was really confused that what am I doing wrong, because I never used to prepare that thoroughly like how I did now. So that really helped me to get to what I got. So that's why I thought it's really important to share it with people, and I hope I can help you guys through this channel. And my plan is to each start to analyze each question type and the notes that I have prepared for myself, and the study plan that I have, and everything I'll be sharing in the coming sessions with you. Okay. So yeah, so if I can do it, you can do it too. Thank you so much for your time, for listening to me. I hope this was helpful. I mean, I really created this with the assumption that I can provide help to many people who are struggling like me. And so just email me your questions or any kind of feedback that you have, be it positive or negative. I'm a starter, so yeah, definitely would like to hear feedbacks from you guys. And if you have any questions on how the exam structure has changed, or how the things have changed in terms of the COVID-19 situation, I can help you with that as well, because I gave my last exam when the lockdown was going on. So we still have few centers open, and probably I can help you with that as well, to just to give you an overview of what has changed in terms of the exam setup, right? So any kind of queries or feedback that you have, just drop in an email, and see you again with another wonderful video. Thank you so much.